Lions TV, we are sponsored by Regal Elevators and Lifts Consultants Limited, a company that is owned and operated by a Millwall fan, just like every single one of the sponsors you can already see on the screen. If you are going to do a bit of business in 2021, then please keep it in the Millwall family by checking out all of our sponsors' website links in the description below or on our website, www.lionstv.co.uk. This is your Sunday Club video. We're going to look back at yesterday's defeat at Oakwell against Barnsley, the end of a 9-game unbeaten run. And we're going to look ahead to Tuesday's home game at the Den against Alex Neil's Preston. But as always, let's wind it back to yesterday and start out with a starting 11 that Gary Rowett picked to start the match. Okay, so yesterday's team selection was a little bit of a random one, I would say, because there was no recognised striker on the pitch. However, it seemed to work yesterday, and Bennett now does seem to be, hopefully, the answers to our short-term striker problems. I'm not saying he's going to be the answer long-term, because I thought he did very well in a central striking role, but with no recognised striker, a few people were shocked at that. I was also very shocked that Danny McNamara hadn't come back in. I was also very shocked that he played Ryan Woods alongside Sean Williams, or vice versa, as we know, and I think a lot of us have said, a lot of people say, it's not just me, that pairing predominantly doesn't seem to work for us, because it's the formation that is an issue, in my opinion. Yes, we've got lots of injuries. We do need to take that into an account. Yes, we've been on a nine-game unbeaten run. I keep saying I'm not sure how. But then again, yesterday, Barnsley have now won 5 of their last 6. And they wasn't very good either, was they? They was better than us on reflection, and I will get into that later. But the problem for me is, and I'm not saying the problem is Woods. You know how I feel about Woods. But if we play 3 centre-backs, we can't have one deep-lying centre midfielder, let alone 2. I thought Sean Williams did better than Woods in the game. You may disagree. I thought he showed flashes of excellence at times on the ball and composure, and as a result, actually created a few chances for us. So, but that too as a pairing doesn't work. I love Williams, as I've said time and time again, but his playing time at the club is coming to an end. And Woods isn't a Millwall player, and I don't think, and I hope not, that he won't be next season. So, for me, where we are in the division now, it's a perfect opportunity to bring in Billy Mitchell. The gaffer was singing his praises on News at Den. He's very assured on the ball. He's mature beyond his years on the ball. And I feel he could bring a real bit of calmness to that midfield and a little bit of quality to it as well as on the ball. And energy, which we didn't seem to have any of those 3 things yesterday. And I see people saying it online as well, that the midfield was non-existent. This is the problem. I say I'm not even blaming Williams. I'm not even blaming Woods. But you can't play 3 centre-backs and then have 2 deep-lying centre midfielders, because then if your fucking fullbacks can't get on, you're playing 7 at the back. It's too negative, it's too defensive. But this is Gary Rowett as a manager on the whole. He's a negative type of manager, and it wasn't brilliant under Neil Harris all the time. In fact, definitely not in the last season. But at least there was excitement. At least something was happening. But there you go. Listen, I'll get into the game, and the game actually did start with some excitement, didn't it? Because we conceded after less than 2 minutes. I've watched the highlights back again. I did a 6-minute video on this game yesterday, so I don't want to go too deep into it, and I do very much want to focus on Preston and my thoughts for Preston and the best way to go about getting a result. But first and foremost, yeah, Barnsley, we go 1-0 down. It's a flat free kick. Flat free kicks, I've seemed to think, are difficult to get right attacking-wise. You always want a little bit of an angle on it, but yesterday Barnsley seemed to score both goals through coming in very flat and players running in behind. So maybe that's something they practice, maybe it's something that they're good at on a whole, and not just 2 goals they scored against us yesterday. But the free kick comes in. I've said this yesterday, I'll say it again. I think our line was too high. It's a great whip in, by the way, by the skipper Alex Mauer, of course, we was interested in, and he had a peach of a left foot. He drops a flat one, a little dolly over the top. And I think our line's too advanced. Again, we need to take into consideration that Jake Cooper, our main man, is out injured. And I think yesterday, the Calamities at the back proves that Jake Cooper is our main man defensively. And he may not always play brilliant, but that presence, well, he does play well a lot. But if he ever is off the ball, just that presence he's got and his desire to play every game. And he's just very Mill-esque, and he's a warrior. And we did miss him dearly yesterday. So the flat ball over the top, we start backtracking. And that's never something you never want to be doing, is running back towards your own goal. But we are running back towards our own goal. Barnsley get the flick on. A lot of people saying offside. I've wound it back, I've frozen it, and I've wound it back, and I've zoomed in. You could argue it's tight. If anyone's playing them onside, and I'm not having a pop at him in this instance, it's Marlon Romeo is the furthest defender back over on the right-hand side. But we put ourselves in that situation, as I said, by holding our line too high. We're too advanced. We should have been deeper. Flick on, and as a result, 2, 3 men in and around Bart. One of them just taps it in, and we're 1-0 down. And you think our backs are going to be against the wall because Barnsley then get another free kick, halfway line, out wide this time. But what we do is we learn from our first mistake. We drop a lot deeper if you look at the replay. And as a result, the free kick comes in. Sean Hutchinson heads it away. Great header. It drops to Jed. It's only Jed and Bennett against 3. Barnsley at first 4, but Jed outpaces one of them completely at the start and takes one of them out of the game. That leaves 3 Barnsley defenders. We're still in our half. Jed, nice early ball into Bennett. Bennett takes the ball just inside the Barnsley half. He's got a lot of work to do. He's travelling on a bobbly pitch, on his weaker foot. His touch takes him away from goal. I think he's going to mess the chance up, but it's brilliant. Back across the keeper, into the side netting. And Mason Bennett's desire and fitness is something I've always questioned. And yesterday, I really feel he turned the corner because he's been coming off the bench and doing well. Even when he's been starting, I think he's been doing all right. But we're getting more minutes out of him now, and he was fuming yesterday when he came off. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm not trying to stir shit. I think that's a great thing. I think that's answered the question yesterday that he felt he had more in the tank for 1, and for 2, he's pissed off. He wants to play for the club. And even Rat might have words about that, but that can only be a good thing for the team and for the morale and for Mason Bennett going forward. So very much impressed with Bennett yesterday. He was far and away our man of the match in my opinion, and he scores a goal and levels it up 1-1 on 6 minutes. After that, I don't know why I felt this, but I just felt we was the stronger side and we was going to go on and win the game. If you look at the stats and chances, everything would suggest the opposite. But we get to half time, and at half time, I just really feel that just a little bit more, we're going to go on and win the game. And something I did say at half time, and I'll cover it now before I forget it. If it had got to 1-1 at 70, 80, 75 minutes, would he have put Matt Smith on and would we have gone for the win? That would have been very interesting to see. However, we don't get an opportunity because Barnsley actually pressed, and on reflection, I've read it in my notes, I thought it was quite an even game. At half-time, I felt we could have got the win. I don't know why, I just felt that a little bit more from us would have got us there. But in the second half, you've got to look on chances, and Barnsley had a couple, Bart made a couple of good saves. Eventually, after he did make a couple of good saves, they get the breakthrough. It actually comes from a corner from them, crossed it in the box, it's cleared away. Jed tries to flick us out of trouble wide to Bennett, and they work very well up front together. And I don't blame Jed because he had a man up him, he's facing his own goal. He just tries to flick it around the corner, turn and get on ball with Bennett breaking away, which we did well at times yesterday. Those two worked well together, as I said, and we kept trying little balls over the top to try and get him behind, which again is something different to Gary Rowett would usually try in a game. But Jed's flick goes to a Barnsley player who comes round on it, left foot, big fucking hooker into the box. And it's a good ball, but it's all right. It comes down with the Barnsley weather on it. It's hopeful. And as it drops, I blame Marlon Romeo. At the time, I've looked again. It was harsh to completely blame Romeo. He plays his part in it, but also the 2 centre-halves. I don't know whether they had a feeling that because Cooper wasn't there, they had to go out and lead by example. And of course, Pearce is the skipper, and if Pearce isn't playing, Hutchinson's the skipper. It's always a little bit confusing, that one. So maybe both of those yesterday, with the fault that Cooper isn't on the pitch, have got to take a bit of responsibility, and it's dropping down onto a big lump's head. And they both, Hutchinson leaves his man, who is actually the guy that scores the goal, to come in and try and win the header. Now, in that instance, Marlon Romeo should cover behind, but Marlon Romeo ball watches completely. Marlon Romeo's just doing that. And then by the time he realises what's happened, they've scored. So, originally, the guy that scored, Hutchinson, actually leaves his man, if you watch it back on the highlights, and catapults towards the ball. Pearce could come in behind. Pearce comes across the entire penalty area. And I said he had a good game yesterday, Pearce, which I do think he did. But and I put that partly to his ability now to play, I think, 3 games on the trot. If you remember back to Bournemouth away, he had a brilliant game. The game after that, he had a stinker because his legs are catching up with him now and he can't usually play 2 games a week. And that's another reason why I'll get onto it in a minute. I'll change it on Tuesday. But Pearce just comes out of nowhere, gets in it with Hutchinson. Neither of them managed to get there. The ball's flicked on. And as I said, Pearce maybe should have covered round for Hutch. Marlon Romeo was right there. He definitely should have realised Hutchinson's going for the ball. I'm just going to step in 2 steps to the left. If he doesn't do it, flick comes on. But again, they get people in behind and it's a fantastic finish. And it's 2-1 Barnsley. After that, we show a little bit of urgency. And this is the frustrating thing. We show urgency and commitment and desire all at the wrong times. Why can't we show that little bit of urgency and that little bit of a commitment when we're drawing a game? Or even, when we're winning the game, just keep going. But it's a Rowett trait, in my opinion. And when people were saying yesterday, you can't blame Rowett for that goal. You can't blame Rowett for this. Ultimately, the decision ends with the manager. Everything, the 11, the players' desire, the players' commitment to want to be playing the game, to be able to get them up for it. Our patterns of play, the way we attack corners, the way we defend free kicks, it all comes down, eventually boils back down to the manager. So it did have an effect on it. And, in my opinion, because he's so negative, we're waiting for something bad to happen before we can turn it around and make something good happen. So it didn't work out for me, this going for it late. And we bring on Smith, fair enough. But after that, he brings on Tyler Berry and John Daddy Bavarton. And at that point, I went, oh my God, what is the point here? And then brings off Jed with 30 seconds to go and brings on Bradshaw. He's left two of the most talented, energetic players on the bench. Of course, Billy Mitchell, I've already alluded to, and Danny McNamara. Now, Billy's been injured for a long time, so you could argue the club are trying to ease him back in. And I've given my reasons why I think he's ready to start now. But Danny Mack's got even more case to be pissed off. And I covered this yesterday because we brought him back from St Johnstone, where he was happily plodding along and progressing in his career. Of course, he's a Millwall player, and coming back to his parent club is, of course, is what he's going to want to do himself. But 5 games he come in, he had an impact defending, he was brilliant going forward, created goals, and now he can't get a game. Marlon Romero's been caught cold now for 2 games in a row, 2 goals in a row, Luton and Barnsley, and he just doesn't seem to start the right people or bring on the right people. What it is with Rowett, right, he loves a veteran. He loves a veteran, and he loves to go with what he knows. You can't really knock that, but I've seen it with him at Derby. He makes the right noises with his younger players, but he needs to show a little bit. He does need to show a little bit, and he's got to play Danny McNamara. He's got to grow the bollocks, basically, in my opinion. Start McNamara again because he didn't do nothing wrong to get dropped in the first place. Start Billy Mitchell. Get that injection of youth and energy, because these players, don't worry about they're young. They're fucking ready. Trust me. So bring them in. Give the older heads a rest. Pierce, Williams, Woods, I can't. It's becoming Jordan Archer-esque for me, this Woods situation, and I can't keep going on about it. The fat little fuck's 2 stone overweight, and I know I'm not one to talk, but look at him from when he started with us to where he is now. He's having an absolute jolly up. And again, people love to dig Thompson out but defend Woods, and love to dig Harris out but get Rowett. And they say I'm not a Millwall fan. I can't work it out. I mean, Thompson, yes, he was completely elusive yesterday in the game, but I'm not surprised. He's about 5'8", and the ball's just doing that over his head constantly. There was no standard of football to it. As I said, it was a bad game, but this is football across the board, and I've had enough of talking about it. So let's move on to Tuesday's game at the Den against Preston. And they're managed, of course, by Alex Neil. They currently sit 13th in the table, 1 place below us on the same points. We both have 33 of those bad boys. We are above them on goal difference. They've won 2, lost 2, and drawn 1 of their last 5 games. However, they are unbeaten in their last 2, and of course they did. They won yesterday, 3-0. They won at home against Huddersfield. So they'll be looking to build on 2 games without a loss when they come away from Deepdale on Tuesday. The one to watch for them, she said no, Evans. She said no. It's Ched Evans on loan from Fleetwood. He's levelled up. Obviously, he's had his personal problems there in the past, although I just stirred the shit by singing the song. Went to Chesterfield, went to Fleetwood. He's back on the right trail. He scored yesterday, and he will be the one to watch on Tuesday at the Den. So before I go into my pre-match prediction, I'm going to talk a little bit in depth about the team I would go with on Tuesday. I haven't done this in a while. I'm not sure why. But our best opportunity to get things back on the right track. I mean, look, it's only 1 defeat. I'm not saying it's the end of the world, but it's dull, it's uninspirational, it's stressful, it's not enjoyable to watch. And Millwall teams predominantly are. There's always a drama, there's always something good happening, and it's just such a low level of fucking cheese roll nothingness at the minute. I don't think I can take much more. We can't get the fans back in. Never more. I've been looking forward to going back to the Den, but in our best interest and what we've got available at the minute, this is the team that I would go with on Tuesday. And he won't fucking do it, but this is on reflection of who we've got available, yesterday's performance, and my general thoughts on the squad. This is the team that I would go with. Balkowski in goal. Flat back 4. Danny McNamara, right back. Shane Ferguson, left back. Jake Cooper, please God, let him be fit, centre half with Sean Hutchinson. Then I'll play 2 central midfielders, Billy Mitchell and George Evans, with Ben Thompson in a 10. I'll play Scott Malone wide and high on the left. I'll play Jeb Wallace on the right, and Mason Bennett has to continue up front. Yeah, flat back 4. Get Danny Mack back in. Fergie's in the wilderness. Ideally, it would be Murray Wallace in that position, but he isn't fit. Junior Tienza's in and around it, which I'm pleased to see, but I think it'd be a bit much to throw him straight in there. Although, if we can get a lead in the game, bring him on. We've had leads in games recently, and he's had the youngsters on. He's not brought Cienza on, and he should have done that. Hayden Muller is still not fit, by the way. He's still injured. He's had a hamstring injury, I believe. So get well soon to Hayden, or a calf injury. Not sure. It's not long term. I'm sure he'll be back tearing out for the 23s before long, and hopefully getting a look in and around the first team. So getting back to the team that I would pick for Tuesday's game at Preston, of course, the big man in goal. Danny Mack, right back. Fergie, left back. As I said, ideally that would be Murray Wallace, but to bring Fergie in, just get him to outright defend. He can get on the overlap if he likes, but Malone is so much more effective further up the pitch. Cooper, please God, let him be fit alongside Hutchinson, give Pearce a rest. Then Evans and Mitchell in the midfield too will be an absolute fucking winner for us. Trust me, it's full of energy, it's full of class, it's full of desire. The passing is going to be beautiful. So please, play those two in the centre midfield. Fuck your ginger mate back off to Stoke, although you're not going to do it. Then I'd have Thompson in a 10. He's not been fantastic last couple, but for everyone that says, what does Thompson, his passing range is all over the place. Look at the impact he has on games and chances he's involved in and goals he scores, which he's done for us for years, but he still gets hated on. Fuck knows why. So I'd have Thompson in a 10. Jed's come back into it, and I thought Jed played okay again yesterday, by the way. So I'd have him on the right. I'd have Malone high wide on the left because he's a little bit fucking Brazilian out there, and he's a bit flary. He creates chances and scores goals, and he fucking put in a brilliant fucking howitzer, I'm going to call it. I don't know what that is, but that's what I've gone with. Across the box yesterday. Yeah, very good yesterday. Again, coming forward, he looks very dangerous and something we haven't really got on the left out wide because fucking Conor Mahoney's missing in action. I've no idea where he is. And up front, Bennett, after his performance yesterday, has to start up front. That's the team that I'll go with. If he went with that team, we'd have a real good chance. But you just know that Woods is going to play every minute of every fucking game until the end of the season. I think he'll go with Williams again. I love Willow, but he's ageing now, and you've got Billy Mitchell there raring to go. But I think he'll go. I don't think he'll move far away from where he was the other day. If Cooper's back fit, that's going to be a massive bonus. If not, I think he'll go with pretty much the same team. I do. I think he'll go with pretty much the same team that we did yesterday. And as I said, it weren't the worst performance in the world yesterday, but we need to be better. So this is your pre-match prediction, and finally, here we go. I am going to go for, he's going to play 3 at the back, he's going to play Woods. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Preston win, unfortunately. If he goes 4 at the back, I think we'll win the game comfortably, but Preston are on the up. We've been doing well lately at home, and I just feel that we could have a little bit of a loss at home, a little bit of a shit performance on Tuesday. It's strange now because we're up to 11th, 12th, 13th, 12th we are. And when we was lower and when we was on a worse run, I've said this before, more of you were in favour of Gary Rowett. Now, we're improving, we're 9 unbeaten, we're higher up the table, but I think some of you are now starting to wake up and smell the coffee. It's just dull under him, and it's just always going to be dull under him. And it's just no existence to Millwall Football Club, is it? Yes, we want survival, but let's go down fighting one day. Let's go down and lose 5-2 to a top team. Just fighting. Just give us a bit of excitement or something to fucking shout and cheer and moan about. Well, I always find things to moan about. But look, it is what it is, and we are where we are, and we should be safe this season. But on Tuesday, at home to Preston, unfortunately, I think they're going to come and do a job on us. So that's your lot for this Sunday Club. I hope you have enjoyed it. The Patreon end of month quiz is tonight. Loads of giveaways. Get on board with that if you dare. But if not, I will see you. There could be a Den debate Monday. There will be a Steve Lovell Lions Lounge out on Patreon on Monday. Loads of videos. You'll see me at some point, unfortunately for you. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.